你们好，同学们。Welcome to A Journey to China, Chinese 1. 欢迎到中国之旅第一册。我是于博士。I am glad to see you today. Did you master the tones of the vocabulary from our last lesson? If so, good job. Remember that tones will always be important. If you point to a book and say 鼠 with the third tone, instead of 书 with the first tone, you didn't say book, you just said potato or yam. That's why tones are important. Our main objective in this lesson is to use the question word whose to identify the owner of some objects. So today, we will review our previous conversation and characters. Learn the names of more objects used at school. Use the question word whose to identify the owner of an object and work on a communication exercise. 同学们, what was the main objective of our last lesson? Good. The objective was to use the question word 什么, meaning what, to identify some objects. Let's watch the dialogue again from lesson 13. See how much you understand.
这是什么？
这是书，
那是什么？
那是书包。
这是什么？你知道吗？
Did you understand everything in the dialogue? The teacher used the question word 什么, meaning what, to ask two questions. He asked, 这是什么? What does the sentence mean? Correct. It means, what is this? Say 这是什么 with me. 这是什么? Next, the teacher asked, 那是什么? What does this mean? Yes, it means, what is that? Say 那是什么 with me. 那是什么? Where is the question word in this sentence? It's at the ending. To respond with an answer, what should you do with the question word? Excellent. You replace it with the answer. Here's the first question and answer in the literal word order. 这是什么? This is what? 这是书. This is a book. The second question and answer follow the same pattern. 那是什么? That is what? 那是书包. That is a school bag. The final question in the dialogue was, 你知道吗? What does this sentence mean? Yes, it means, do you know? The word order is, you know, with the question particle, ma, at the end to form a question. Say, 你知道吗 after me. 你知道吗? The student identified the items as a book, 书, and a school bag, 书包. She said, 这是书. This is a book. Say, 这是书 with me. 这是书. She also said, 那是书包. That is a school bag. Say, 那是书包 with me. 那是书包. 好极了，同学们. Great review of the dialogue. Let's review the characters for these words. 这, 那, and 什么. Here is 这. What does it mean? Yes, it means this. In our last lesson, you identified 这 as what type of structure? Yes, compound. Which tone is used to say 这? 好, fourth tone. Next, Here is na. What does it mean? It means that. What type of structure would you say it has? Yes, compound. Which tone is used to say na? Fourth is correct. 非常好. Shen also has parts on the left and right. So the structure is what? Yes, compound. What does shen mean? It means what? Which tone is used to say shen? 你知道吗? Second tone. Very good. How many strokes are used in shen? There are 4 strokes. Here is ma. What type of structure do you see? It's compound. Ma has how many strokes? 好. It has 3. Does it have a tone? If you said neutral, you are correct. Let's review some of the objects we've learned. I'll ask you some questions. Give me your answers in a complete sentence. Be sure to respond in Chinese. 这是什么? 这是书包. 那是什么? 那是笔. 这是什么? 这是书. 那是什么？你知道吗？那是毛笔。Did you identify the objects correctly? 很好。It's time to watch and listen to a new dialogue. Listen for the word 谁的 meaning whose, and see how much you understand.
这是谁的笔？
那是我的，
那是谁的书包？
大概是林老师的。
In the dialogue, the students were asking questions and identifying who owned 2 objects. What were the objects? Tell me in Chinese. Yes, a pen, 笔, and a school bag, 书包，很好。Did you hear the possessive pronoun 谁的 meaning whose? If you did, 很好。The first question was 这是谁的笔? Whose pen is this? Literally, this is whose pen? 这是谁的笔? The owner of the pen was the second student. The student said, 那是我的. That is mine. 那是我的. Student number 1 asked another question. 那是谁的书包? Whose school bag is that? You can know from reading the characters that the literal word order is that is whose school bag. 那是谁的书包? The second student replied, 那大概是林老师的. That probably is Teacher Lin's. 那大概是林老师的. Let's study the vocabulary for this lesson. First, we have the word 谁的 meaning whose. 谁的 is said with the second and neutral tones. 谁的 is possessive form for the word 谁 meaning who. Listen, 谁的, 谁的, 谁的. Now say it after me. 谁的, 谁的. 谁的。我的 is a possessive pronoun. You've learned and used 我的 in previous lessons. What does it mean? 对了, it means my or mine. Which tones are used to say 我的? The third and neutral tones are correct. Practice saying 我的 with me 3 times. 我的，我的，我的。The next word is 你的. You're also familiar with this pronoun. What does it mean? Yes, it means your or yours. Which tones are used to say 你的? Good. The third and neutral tones are used. Say 你的 with me 3 times. 你的，你的，你的。很好。Here's a word, 尺. You learned it in our last lesson. What is the object called 尺? Correct. It's a ruler. 尺 is said with a third tone. Say 尺 with me 3 times. 尺，尺，尺。A new word today is 剪刀. 剪刀 means scissors. It's said with the third and the first tones. Listen. 剪刀，剪刀，剪刀。Now, repeat it after me. 剪刀，剪刀，剪刀。剪刀 means scissors. One of the most important items we use at school is paper. 纸，纸 is said with a third tone. Listen. 纸，纸，纸。Now say it after me. 纸，纸，纸。What does 纸 mean? Yes, paper. Another word you are familiar with is 橡皮. Tell me, what does it mean? Good. 橡皮 means eraser, like the eraser on the pencil. 橡皮 is said with the fourth and the second tones. Listen. 橡皮，橡皮，橡皮。Now say it with me 3 times. 橡皮，橡皮，橡皮。好。Our final vocabulary word today is 大概. 大概 means probably. 大概 is an adverb. Do you recognize the character 大? Very good. 大概 is said with 2 fourth tones. Listen. 大概，大概，大概。Now say it after me. 大概，大概，大概。大概 means probably. Let's watch and listen to the dialogue again.
这是谁的笔？
那是我的，
那是谁的书包？
大概是林老师的。
Who owned the objects on the table? 你知道吗? The student and the teacher each owned one of the objects. Let's learn to say the sentences in the dialogue. The first question was, 这是谁的笔? Whose pen is this? The literal word order is, this is whose pen? 这是谁的笔? Listen as I say it for you again. 这是谁的笔? Now, repeat the sentence after me. 这是谁的笔？这是谁的笔？这是谁的笔？ Hold up your pen or pencil and look at it. Ask yourself the question out loud. 这是谁的笔？好。In the dialogue, the answer was, 那是我的。Listen. 那是我的。That is mine. 那是我的。Repeat. 那是我的 after me. 那是我的。那是我的。那是我的。That is mine. 那是我的。The second question was, 那是谁的书包？ Listen. 那是谁的书包？ Whose school bag is that? The little word order is, that is whose school bag. 那是谁的书包？ Repeat the sentence after me. 那是谁的书包？那是谁的书包？那是谁的书包？很好。The final sentence in the dialogue was, 那大概是林老师的。That probably is Teacher Lin's. Listen. 那大概是林老师的。那大概是林老师的。那大概是林老师的。Now, repeat the sentence after me. 那大概是林老师的。那大概是林老师的。那大概是林老师的。Excellent! In previous lessons, you learned how adding the possessive article, 的, to the pronouns or nouns shows a possessive relationship. 的 functions in a similar way to the apostrophe s in English. Here's a chart to give you a better understanding of how the forms a possessive and what it means. For example, 我 meaning I or me becomes 我的 my or mine. 你 meaning you becomes 你的 your or yours. 他 meaning he or him becomes 他的 his. 她 meaning she or her becomes 她的 her or hers. 他们 meaning they becomes 他们的 their or theirs. And 老师 meaning teacher becomes 老师的 teachers. In today's dialogue, 的 is used to form the possessive pronoun 我的 mine and the possessive noun 老师的 teachers. Let's get ready for a group competition and see how well you can understand the Chinese we've studied and translate it into English. Listen to my instructions. First, divide it into groups of 3, like you've done before. Be sure each person has paper, 纸, and pencil, 笔. Next, I'll show you some pictures and describe them in Chinese. You can take notes about the descriptions. When I'm finished, I'll ask you some questions. Write your answer in English using complete sentences that reflect the Chinese words you've heard. Each person on your team must answer the question individually. After we complete the questions, I'll go over the answers. You'll score yourself honestly, of course. The team with the greatest number of correct answers wins. Are you ready? Don't talk. Listen. Let's begin. Description 1. 那是林大虎的笔。I'll describe it again. 那是林大虎的笔。Description 2. 这是白老师的书。I'll describe it again. 这是白老师的书。Description 3. 那大概是蓝蓝的橡皮。Here's the description again. 那大概是蓝蓝的橡皮。Now I have some questions for you. Answer the questions in English using a complete sentence. Listen. Question number 1. 那是谁的笔？你知道吗？ I'll say it again. 那是谁的笔？你知道吗？ Let's go to question number 2. 这是谁的书？你知道吗？ I'll say it again. 这是谁的书？你知道吗？ The last question, number 3. 那是谁的橡皮？那是谁的橡皮？ I'll give you about 5 more seconds. I hope you've answered the questions to the best of your ability. Let's see how you did. The first question was, 那是谁的笔？你知道吗？ Whose pen is that? Do you know? The answer in English is, that is Lin Dahu's pen. Give yourself a point for the correct answer. The second question was, 这是谁的书？你知道吗？ Whose book is this? Do you know? The answer in English is, this is Teacher Bai's book. If you answered correctly, give yourself a point. The third question was, 那是谁的橡皮？ Whose eraser is that? The answer in English is, that probably is Lan Lan's eraser. If you said, that is probably Lan Lan's eraser, you're also correct. Give yourself a point for the correct answer. Now, did you leave out the word probably in your answer? Remember the description? I said, 那大概是蓝蓝的橡皮。That probably is Lan Lan's eraser. The word probably must be in your answer to get the point. What is your group score? If there are 3 people in your group, 9 is a perfect score. Which group has the most points? Wonderful! Congratulations to the winners. Now, let's relax from the competition and look at some new characters. Here is ma. Ma is a question particle word. Look at the structure of ma. What type of structure does it have? Single part or compound structure? Correct. It is compound. It has definite parts on the left and on the right. How many strokes does ma have? Very good. Ma has 6 strokes. Next, look at bu, meaning no or not. Is the structure of bu single part or compound? 你知道吗? It is single part. How many strokes does Boo have? Boo has 4 strokes. Our last character is the. The possessive particle word, what type of structure do you see in the? Correct. It is compound. You can easily see the left and right parts of the character. Does the left part look familiar? Do you recognize the character by, meaning the color white? How? How many strokes are used to write the? The has 8 strokes. Let's go over the things we've learned in today's lesson. After reviewing our previous lesson, we watched and listened to the new dialogue between 2 students. You listened for the word 谁的, meaning whose. The students in the dialogue identified some school objects and who owned them. The sentences we studied in the dialogue were 这是谁的笔? Whose pen is this? 那是我的. That is mine. 那是谁的书包? Whose school bag is that? And 那大概是林老师的. That probably is Teacher Lin's. The vocabulary list for this lesson included the possessive pronouns. 谁的, whose, 我的, my or mine, and 你的, your or yours. It also included the school objects. 尺, ruler, 剪刀, scissors, 纸, paper, 橡皮, eraser, and the new word 大概, an adverb that means probably. We talked about the possessive particle 的 and how it shows a possessive relationship when it's added to nouns or pronouns. 的 functions in a similar way to the apostrophe s in English. Next, you divide it into groups and compare to see how well you could understand and interpret Chinese. Congratulations again to the winning group with the most points. We also look at 3 new characters and study their structure and strokes. They were 嘛, the question particle, 不, meaning no or not, and 的, the possessive particle. 同学们, we've come to the end of our lesson. We've learned new things and accomplished today's goal, which was to learn and use the word 谁的 to identify the owner of some school objects. Great job! Be sure to complete your worksheet for this lesson, and I want you to practice and recite the sentences from our dialogue this week. 同学们, I will see you again for our next lesson on the journey to China. And remember, learning never ends. 学无止境. 再见.